Hi lovelies, Esther here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome for the first time. I was just now demonstrating this thing about meditation from within my Zen tradition in a practice that dates back, at least in legend, to the founder of the Zen school, the first ancestor, Bodhidharma, who legendarily brought this style of meditation from India to China. Bodhidharma, it's said, spent the first 9 years of his practice in China. He spent them sitting facing a cliff wall, facing the cliff wall at Shaolin, what would become Shaolin Monastery, home of Kung Fu. It's also said about Bodhidharma that in order not to fall asleep, this is so Zen. In order not to fall asleep while he was facing the wall for 9 years, he ripped off his eyelids and threw them behind him. And from the eyelids hitting the ground, sprouted up the very first tea bush. Tea, caffeine, staying awake. It makes sense in its own gory, Zen logic. But here's the thing, both with the fact that Bodhidharma originated this thing that's also true about traditional Zen meditative practice. We practice with our eyes open. We practice with our eyes open facing a blank wall. I was facing a piece of furniture just now. But, here's an image. I'll drop an image in here of a traditional monk facing in a traditional Zendo facing the wall. Both with this open-eyed practice and this practice of facing a wall, what's being realized here is this fundamental truth, I think, of sound and committed spiritual practice, which is there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, right? We just actually have to face the sheer cliff of our life. People will sometimes, if you come for the first time to a Zendo and you see all these people sitting very still facing a wall, it may look to you like they've turned away from the world, right? Because we've turned our backs on the world. But, actually quite the opposite. The whole point of that practice of facing the wall, of meeting the wall, the whole point of that is you're not going to squiggle out. You're not going to squirm out. There's no escape hatch here. Just pressed right up against what you perceive to be the obstacle, what you perceive to be the hindrance. Just meet it squarely without squirming away. So, facing the wall. For me, this is exactly the kind of posture of heart and mind that the tarot can help us realize. So, I want to introduce a practice for the month of March 2023. If you're watching this now, join along in real time. If you're watching this later, maybe this will inspire you in your own practice. But for the month of March, I want to encourage us to practice a tarot form of facing the wall, of meeting the wall, meeting our life just as it is. So I love me a good hashtag. So meeting the wall March, that's what I'm suggesting. And this is a practice I'm using here, Tiara May's Ritual Tarot, which is a tarot that's new to my collection and deeply loved. I think the pre-orders are out now. Maybe she's still taking pre-orders for the second edition. And then she will probably be producing a third edition with titles on the cards. These versions of the cards are all image without title, which I personally really love. I love the opportunity to dive into the archetypes in her beautiful analog style collage art. All the collages in these images, they're old school collage where you cut out images from actual books and magazines and then you actually paste them on an actual piece of paper. So there's a quality here of an assemblage, a rich assemblage of archetypal pieces into each of these cards. And so using this ritual tarot, I'm going to demonstrate the practice of meeting the wall through tarot. So I'm going to pick my first card. My first card is the wall. Okay? What is the wall in my life right now? What is the wall? What is that thing that I perceive to be an obstacle, that I perceive to be sort of in my face, that I really like to squirm away from, that I'd really like to overcome, I'd really like to move beyond? What is that? And the answer is, and I'm not going to work with reversals here, the answer is, I believe this is the Queen of Cups. I'm still learning these cards. Oops, let me get that so it's not in the light. How is the Queen of Cups my wall? I'm just going to double check as I learn these. Yeah, Queen of Cups. How is the Queen of Cups my wall? Water of water. Something about, and as I allow this to sink in, as I allow myself to really face this card, I'm actually feeling a little bit of emotion stir up in my heart, because I think this is a card about me and empathy. I sometimes talk about spiritual hygiene, about our capacity to really be careful about the way energy comes into us and the way we release it. And I think if you are at all empathic or sensitive or whatever those words mean, if you're watery, if you have a lot of cups in you, okay, if there's a sort of fluidity of your relationship to the world in its suffering and its in its resonance, where people get stirred up and create worlds and meanings, if you're sensitive to that and that flows into you, how is it flowing through you, flowing out you? What are you doing with it? And this is, in a very mundane way, this is about boundaries. But I think that saying that this is about setting good boundaries really misses the point of what empathy is, what it is to have that huge receiving vessel, what it is to lean ourselves toward the world. And I don't think of Queen of Cups, right, as a negative card, as a wall or obstacle in an obvious sense, but I can see how what I need to face into is the truth of empathy and how I'm managing it in my life, or not managing it so well, says the person who just stopped being a full-time chaplain because it's not sustainable. For me, at least, not with all the other things that I've been doing with my life. So, the Queen of Cups, empathy. This is my wall. This is what I'm going to face toward. And now my second card. My second card is, how do I soften into that wall? So if I'm facing something, I can face it like I'm facing the wall. And any of you who have had a meditative practice, you might be kind of familiar with the process of like gritting your teeth and like making it from the beginning bell to the end bell. It's like, I will just sit here and meditate. How do I soften as I am facing this wall, facing this thing that is deep and complex and fully here? How do I soften into it? How do I soften, in this case, how do I soften into the difficulty of empathy? How do I soften into it? And the card I picked, again, I'm not going to worry about. Is that? I don't think that's the Emperor. Let me find what card that is. Queen of Pentacles. So, Earth. How do I soften in to the truth of empathy? I get more grounded. I mean, that's fairly straightforward. So this is facing the wall. Meet the wall, march. So using the tarot, 2-card reading to help us settle into the truth that is here and present right now, just as we are. Okay. I will be posting Meet the Wall readings on Facebook in the Facebook group Mindful Tarot. I encourage you, if you haven't joined the group, I encourage you to join. Or just play with this at home. And I may have other videos about this. Meet the Wall March 2023. And in terms of meeting the wall in a big sense, that's at the heart of the Mindful Tarot curriculum, if you will, the Mindful Tarot modality. And this Sunday, February 23, I will be offering an info session for people interested in the revamped Mindful Tarot Certificate Program, which will be starting a new cohort, a 12-month program starting in June. If you are interested in the Mindful Tarot Certificate Program, drop me an email to make sure that you're on the notification list, and I'll zip you back. If you're not on the notification list yet, I'll zip you back the Zoom link for the info session this Sunday, February 26th, 2023. And if you're watching this video after that date, there's probably still a way to plug into the certificate group, so just drop me a note. Okay, that's a lot of words. Queen of Cups, Queen of Pentacles, water and earth. Yeah, thank you all for your practice. Thank you for showing up. Take care.